Hey guys, and welcome to my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. predictions video for the back half of Season 3. I've got a couple of things that I want to go over for, what's going to come in the next bunch of episodes, 12 episodes, if it follows suit. The one disclaimer that I really want to make about this video is that I do not read the comics when my comic book knowledge when it comes to Marvel is very selective. There were very selective things that I did read. So if I'm getting to a point where you're like, I know what's going to happen, try not to spoil anything, but if you can explain something or I just missed something completely, please just let me know. Alright, let's get started. The first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that we might set up for Marvel's Most Wanted. I swear I can't keep track of, if it's happening or not or whatever. But the first half of the season, I felt like we got a couple of really good Bobby and Hunter moments, but I would assume we're going to expand a little more in that. We're going to actually possibly come up with a premise for Marvel's Most Wanted, more so than what they've kind of already said. I feel like if we're going to do a, spinoff, there should be a reason for us to move on and watch the spinoff. Although I of course agree that Bobby and Hunter are enough. I don't know if I've ever talked about the spinoff to you guys. I don't need it. I kind of just want to keep everybody on S.H.I.E.L.D. and make S.H.I.E.L.D. awesome. And I think it might just be the first of I don't know, Bobby and Hunter get a spinoff, and then the Secret Warriors get a spinoff, and then there's this part's gonna get a spinoff, and it's I mean, maybe not, but just by the way that Marvel works in general, there tends to be a lot of shows and a lot of spinoffs and a lot of shit that I don't want to watch. I'd rather it all be in one awesome show. Perfect the show you got, which, by the way, they're doing a great job so far of this season. This season's brilliant, but perfect the show you got before you start putting your eggs in other baskets. That's just all, all I'm saying. But my prediction is that we're going to start seeing a little bit of setup or a little bit of something to kind of get that spinoff started. What I want to talk about is mostly related to the Secret Warriors, but it is mostly focused on Joey. Joey is going to hopefully become more of a main character now, especially if we are going to be losing Bobby and Hunter at some point. We can kind of fill in a couple of the other positions, and for the most part, I think the fans are really responding well to Joey. To be fair, he hasn't done too much, and has only been in a handful of episodes, but so far so good. And, stepped it up in the last episode. We're going to see more of this Secret Warrior project, and I think he's going to become a much more dynamic and main character, hopefully. My next prediction is the one that you may want to help me out with, because, okay, when they announced that there was going to be the Secret Warriors and that, Daisy and Mac were going to be in charge, and then it was going to be a team of superhumans and stuff, the first thing that came to my mind was oh my god, they're going to bring back Deathlok. And that didn't happen. I would love to see Deathlok join the Secret Warriors, but you guys can tell me if no, it's only in humans, or no, it's there's specific requirements, Jess, slow your roll, Deathlok cannot be a part of this shit. Let me know. But otherwise, why the fuck can't he come back with his super powered arm and epicness? I really like Deathlok, so I would love to see him come back. And maybe not even in the Secret Warriors. Let's just get him back. this next prediction is not entirely something that I really think is going to happen, more so than it is something that I hope is going to happen. Maybe at some point by the end of the season, we are going to see the return of Cal. Woo! I would love to see that just because, you know, Kyle MacLachlan is everything and I love him. I'm a big Twin Peaks fan. You know, they left him alive for a reason. They might need him for something. You never know. Maybe it's not going to be this season. Maybe it'll be next season or something like that. But I really don't think that we've seen the last of Cal at all. And I would really like to see him, like, turn up and, you know, cause some havoc or be super sweet with Daisy. I'm not really sure which I want yet. So my next prediction is about, oh boy, here we go, Lash. There is so much up in the air when it comes to Lash for me. Okay. I think I mentioned this in the weekly chat after the mid-season finale. I'm not convinced Lash killed all those Inhumans. Okay, it's very likely. It seems like he's losing control, and that was the point of seeing all the dead bodies. Like, either getting the fans' hopes up, like, oh, maybe he's changed, he's saving Gemma, everything's amazing, oh, look at all the dead bodies. But, like, we didn't see him do it. So it's likely that he did it, but we didn't see it. So, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who else it would be. It doesn't really make it. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, you know, you are in a Hydra base. I don't know. But let's go with the, you know, assumption that he did do it. Because that is the heavy assumption. I'm just making a point that, you know, we didn't see it. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, heavy assumption that he did do it. Hydra is trying to get this army of Inhumans, and Lash is trying to, like, kill them all. So, like, who do you even root for? Like, you don't want these poor Inhumans to die, but you don't really want an army of Inhumans that are, you know, like, this is all really bad. So, I think Lash, by the end of this season, possibly won't survive. But I feel like he's gonna go out as, when there's just like a little glimpse of him left, because if you remember, Lincoln said that it's like almost positive that he's not going to really be Andrew anymore. When there's a little bit of Andrew left, maybe he'll sacrifice himself or do something like that to kind of maybe even save the Inhumans. That would really come full circle and really interesting. But, yeah, just so many questions surrounding him, and I'm, you know, waiting to just cry my eyes out when it comes to May and the whole situation, so we'll see how all that goes. The next thing that I want to talk about is basically almost always what I want to talk about. Yes, you guessed it, Fitzsimmons. Well, first, I want to talk about Simmons. My prediction or hope for her is that she finally gets better, like she finally puts everything to rest. Simmons is my favorite. I think I've said that in videos before. I know a lot of people like hate her because of the Will thing. I hated the Will thing. I mean, go back and watch the reaction. I was not pleased. However, I feel like people like dismiss the fact that she was in defense of Simmons. People just dismiss the fact that she was like, do you know what it's like to be on your own trying to fight for food and like all that stuff for months, or I mean, however long it took until she got to, well, and even then they weren't like, you know, in a fucking hotel suite or anything like that. But I think relationships are complicated. I think people are complicated. And I think Simmons wholeheartedly, is in love with Fitz completely. But I think when you're in a dire circumstance and there's only one other person there, and she gave up, that was the moment she gave up on, she said, I'm not going home. I'm not. This is my life. So I hate that they did that. I still do. No, I'm not, a big fan of the fact that they wrote them writing that in. However, I'm not, I'm not like Fox Simmons because that happened. I mean, there was a horrible situation to be in. And that leads me to this. I want her to come to terms with what happened to her, with what happened to Will, and to really kind of herself, figure out that she, I don't know how to put this, but that she needs to move on from things that happened in her past. I think we know Simmons is a character, in my opinion, that carries a lot of guilt with her. After the whole thing that happened in the season 2 mid-season finale with Trip, you can tell that she really took it to heart. What happened to Trip, was her fault. And that's why she was so adamant about trying to fix the, what was happening with the Inhumans. And, she felt a lot of guilt about that. Not that she did anything for it, but maybe she could have prevented it. Maybe that, and I feel like she always holds a lot of guilt. She holds a lot of guilt when Fitz sacrificed himself for her at the bottom of the ocean. And she never, ever comes to term with it. She just kind of bottles it up and becomes a stronger person. But, I just want to see her come to terms with it. I rambled on that way too long. I hope that made sense. Because I know sometimes when it comes to people's emotional states, it gets kind of weird and complex when I try talking about it. But I hope that all made sense. That I really want to see her kind of get some closure, I guess, when it comes to the whole traumatic situation that happened with her. And obviously that leads to the next thing that I really absolutely want to happen, is that Fitz and Simmons finally get back on track. I am not a person who needs to see the couple that they really love in a show kiss. They have to be, people put a lot of weight on they have to be in a relationship and they have to be exclusive and they have to be I just feel like things are so much more deeper than all of that. Or deeper, more deeper that's not a phrase. It's just, I'd like to see them, and I think they already are back on track in a lot of, regards, but I would like to see them, again, put this kind of traumatic experience behind them. It was traumatic for Fitz, too. The woman he loved was gone and in this hellhole, and, he got her out of there, and heartbreakingly, there was another guy involved. Although, he can see past that and know that she was in a traumatic experience, and, I don't know. They're the best. But I think that we should hopefully get them maybe more to a happy place, and then maybe writers, maybe you don't rip our hearts out when they get to the happy place. Maybe you just let them stay there for I don't know, an episode or two. Just let us live. Shish. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is Coulson. I said this in my weekly chat after the mid-season finale, but I think there might be repercussions for Coulson emotionally. I think he might be a little bit at his wit's end when it comes to a lot of things. Rosalind was a huge, event for him that, he lost her because they were really having such a strong connection. But the thing that, he killed Ward, and that scene, I love how that scene kind of played out, but I'm conflicted about how I felt about, like, Ward actually dying, but I loved how the scene played out. Coulson, in a way, don't misconstrue what I'm going to say, became Ward. And in that sense, he did it for vengeance. He did it because I'm righteous. And I mean, Ward's a bad guy and he's done bad things. Like, Coulson is entirely justified for killing him. But in the moment, it was very vividly clear that Coulson did that completely out of revenge. And that kind of makes him kind of the same as Ward in that moment. And I think we might get into that maybe a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure how much we're going to get into that. But I think there's going to be a little bit of repercussions emotionally for Coulson since, what happened, what went down in the Avengers. I feel like this is kind of one of the biggest emotional roller coasters Coulson has been on for a while, which I think, might impair his judgment. He just jumped out of that plane, and I mean, he's gonna go save Fitz or Simmons, whoever was there. It happened to be Fitz. He jumped out of that plane and was like, I'm gonna get Ward. But it was all driven to kill Ward. And he left Mac in charge and was like, I'm gonna go rogue. And I feel like there might still be tension between Mac and Coulson because of that. Like, well, apparently you can't handle, your emotional state. I'm saying this from Mac's perspective, because they've had tension before. It's not too far out of the possibilities that they will have tension again. My next prediction is basically that, again, this is another hope, is that Ward 2.0, bad Ward, evil Ward, we gotta come up with a name, guys. Let's, in the comments, for channel purposes and talking about it, let me know what you want to call him. The other version of Ward that came back lives up to the hype, because here's the thing, this thing is horrible. Simmons knew it, Will knew it. It absolutely could not come back to Earth, and Hydra really wants it on Earth, and but there's a I want it to live up to the hype. I'm gonna regret saying this later, but I want there to be destruction. I want there to be consequences to letting this thing come back, which I'm assuming because of the look that Fitz and Coulson gave each other at the end of the episode, that they know he came back with them. I really want to see a real bad guy, and I would love that if it's embodied by Ward, because it's a little bit of an homage to his character, to kind of give him that honor of being such a good bad guy. I would be really pissed off if they killed off Ward, because whether or not, he's not a good guy, but he's a great character. Such a great, well-written character, in my opinion, that, I would be so mad if they killed him off just to, stick him in a shitty villain. Or stick the villain inside of him, I guess. You know what I mean. I would be really pissed off about that. So I hope it really pays off. The other thing that I want to talk about, and kind of, let me know what you guys think, is Ward completely dead? Can he be revived in any sort of way? Is that a thing that can happen? I've been watching a lot of Whedon shows as of late, and I got to a storyline that I was like, it would be really interesting if they did something similar. Spoiler alert for those of you who have not watched Angel and want to watch Angel. Please leave for a second, or just skip like a minute or two. Okay. The whole brainwashing thing happened in Angel with Wesley, where they made Wesley forget all of the quote-unquote horrible things he does. I was hashtag Team Wesley the entire time. But, what if they did something like that with Ward? And I just thought, like, I don't know why this, like, came into my mind, but I just thought, wow, that would be really interesting if somehow they can get that demon out of him and he would survive. I don't know the logistics of how that would happen. It really makes no sense to me. But let's take a leap and say that happens, and they erase everything so he doesn't know that he did any of the shitty things that he did. Wouldn't that be fascinating? And then he would start with a clean slate, and everybody else would have to figure out how to deal with him, and he would have to figure out if he's... Alright, I'm just going on a tangent for something that's probably never going to happen. I'm going to stop right now. My last and final prediction is sadly that Ward, or Ward 2.0, or whatever, will die. Really die. Like, the actor will not be around anymore. Die. Barring anything I said a couple of seconds ago with my random theories, I just don't see them moving forward too much with his character. It seems like we're coming to a close. I don't know. I just don't see him... at the beginning of this season, I even said that I really don't know how much longer they can really milk out his storyline. Not that it's not absolutely fascinating, but that it seems like it's naturally coming to a close. When he, tortured Simmons and things like that, is kind of basically him saying, all right, I basically, made my choice, and I'm fully evil, and I'm fully Hydra, and now he's really fully Hydra, like really. So I have a feeling that he will be put down for good by the end of the season, and that might be really sad for a lot of us. I really like Brett Dalton. I think he brought a lot to the character of Ward, so I'm not looking forward to that, but that's my prediction, that we're going to lose him by the end of the season. I hope you guys enjoyed these predictions. This is a little early for a predictions video, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Bates Motel are premiering back-to-back, which is also after The Walking Dead. And so that's how my weeks are going to be going. It's going to be Walking Dead, Bates, Agents, and then hopefully I'll record other stuff the rest of the week, and then Walking Dead, Bates, Agents, and Walking Dead will end, and Game of Thrones will start, and it's a never-ending cycle. The spring is always kind of the craziest when it comes to videos for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you at the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season premiere reaction. Love you guys. Bye!